Hello everybody, it's Kate, the West Coast Paper Crafter. You are joining me from my craft space on Vancouver Island in Canada. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Tonight, it's May 22nd, and it is project number 4 in my mixed florals card class at home. So I'm going to be using this stamp set. And I'm also using a sentiment from the Write Words stamp set. And what else? I am also using a brand new embossing folder called Glass and Gardens. And I think that is it. All right, I am just bringing up my laptop. I just have to refresh my computer. And I can make sure that my hands are in camera view. I say the same things all the time. You guys must be so tired of me talking about it. All right, let's get started. We'll go through the measurements. I'm going to move some things out of the way because there's a lot happening. So if you are crafting along with me, you are going to need your paper trimmer. Oh, there is something new. I'm using the new Strawberry Slush cardstock. So this card base is 4 1/4 by 11. I've scored it at 5 1/2 on the long side. So that's going to be our card base. We've got 2 pieces of Flirty Flamingo. These are both 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. 2 pieces of basic white. They're both 2 1/2 by 4 1. I've already gone ahead and embossed it with the Glass and Gardens embossing folder. I had to think about the name for a second. Yeah, that's how good my memory is. I literally just showed it and said what it was, and then I forgot. Anyways, so these are 2 1/2 by 4. And then I have just got a piece of basic white for the inside of the card because my base is a darker color and because I also love layers. And this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. All right, let's get started with the cutting first. So grab your paper trimmer and your card base if you are crafting along. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your card base and you're going to chop off 2 3/4 of an inch off the front of your card base. I'm just going to write that down in case anybody needs to write it down. So you're going to cut 2 3/4 of an inch off the front card flap. All right, so we're just cutting that off the front of our card. All right, let's do it. 2 3/4. All right, so I'm just going to line this up in my paper trimmer at 2 3/4. And I'm going to cut that off. So now our card base looks like this. And don't throw away this piece because we're going to use it. This is a super simple fun fold. I make them quite often actually because they're so easy to do and they don't take too much time. So my computer is lagging. So if I'm missing anything, I'm sorry. It is not you, it is me and possibly my internet connection. All right, carrying on. So let's do a little bit of actually stamping before we get to putting these pieces together. Otherwise, I'm going to totally forget what I'm doing. All right, so on one piece of the 2 1/2 by 4 inch paper, we're going to do some stamping. So I am going to grab my handy little stamp positioning tool. Now, I've talked about this before. This is a Stampin' Up! Tool called the Stamparatus. They don't sell them anymore. There was a legal issue with Misty, I believe, but it's super handy. Oh, I'm seeing some comments popping in. Hello, Kathy. Hello, Deb. Hello, Connie. So I'm just going to pop in the comments an alternative stamp positioning tool that I found on Amazon. It's got really good reviews. And it's similar to Stampin' Up! Stamp Positioning Tool. So if you are watching me stamp and you are envious because you do not have a stamp positioning tool, the one I just posted the link for, that's loud, it's got good reviews. It's a lot cheaper than the Stampin' Up! One was, which is a bonus. Hello, Marion from Ohio and Sarah from Ohio. Crystal from Virginia, Diane from Minnesota. Thanks for tuning in tonight, friends. Okay, so back to the stamp positioning tool. Hey, Deborah, thanks for tuning in. Hello, Jackie. So if you click on that link and you end up deciding you're going to purchase that stamp positioning tool, what you do know is that Amazon is going to give me a little commission. I don't know what it is. It does not change the cost for you. It's just a little kickback I get when I recommend things. So it's new. I don't share a lot of Amazon links, but when I find something that I think is useful, I will. I'll definitely share that with you. Yes, Debbie, you got the one from Amazon. I'm glad it works good for you. Hi, Susan from Florida and Teresa. Leah, I'm glad you joined, buddy. And Michelle. Okay, so for those who haven't seen me use the stamp positioning tool yet, what I've done is I've just put my paper down. I've got some magnets that are going to hold it in place. And then I'm positioning my big stamp in the sort of the left side of the paper. So in the right corner, I want to leave some room for stamping. And then I'm also going to do a little bit of stamping in the bottom right corner. So I'm just going to adjust this big tulip stamp to where I think I want it. And then you close the door, you press down so your stamp's going to stick. I'm going to use my ruler because my stamp is so sticky and I don't have enough magnets on this paper. It's going to pull my paper up and I don't want it to move around too much. And then black ink. All right, so now I'm just going to ink up my big stamp. So this stamp is so big, it fits my biggest block, and it's just a little bit too awkward for me to handle. I obviously don't do well with a big block. Hey, Vicky from Australia and Catherine from New Zealand. Thanks for tuning in. All right, pressing down, I'm applying some even pressure. And then I'm going to grab this ruler again because if this does not transfer properly, I don't want my paper to move because I might want to restamp it. But I nailed it, so I don't need to do that. Handy. All right, so here is part of our stamped image. I'm just going to get this big, gigantic stamp positioning tool out of the way. And then the next thing I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment so I know where the rest of my flowers can go. So I've just picked You're So Kind from the Right Word stamp set. And lately I'm on a Be Kind kick. So if I am putting a lot of Be Kind to Everybody posts on my Facebook page, it's a theme. I'm doing it on purpose. I really think the world needs a little bit more kindness and we can make a difference, right? Just by being a little kinder. I mean, it's free, right? I know being a jerk is free too, but so is being kind. Hello, Christine from Illinois. Sorry you had trouble finding me. I've had, sometimes when I try to find my buddy, the Canadian Stampers lives, she goes live at 9 in the morning on Saturdays, like clockwork, and I'm expecting a notification and I never get it, even though I clicked on that little, whatever that alarm shape is. So I should get notifications, and then I got to track her down. I got to track her down on Facebook. It drives me crazy. Hi, Margaret from North Vancouver. Thanks for tuning in. We're neighbors. We're just across the pond from each other. All right, so now I've got it's either a daisy or a cornflower or a black-eyed Susan, whatever you want it to be. And I am going to stamp that underneath the sentiment just beside my tulip. So I'm obviously not going to get the whole stamp in there. Now this is a big stamp, but I don't need my biggest block, so I feel like I can manage this one. We'll see. If I mess up, I've got a backup, so no worries. I'm just going to angle this and try not to stamp on anything I've already stamped. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Oh yeah, nailed it. All right, I'm going to get this out of the way too. I get quite the mess going when I'm using the mixed floral stamp set because the stamps are big. I'm using a whole bunch of stuff. Hello, Kimberly. Margaret used to live on Gabriola. No kidding. Well, that is interesting. I bet that was a really nice place to live. I used to live in Nanaimo, so I know exactly where Gabriola is. Okay, now coloring. I am not going to color this whole image because that will take forever and I don't want you guys to fall asleep, but I'm just going to show you the basics of what I do. So for the leaves and the stems, I like to use two different shades. So for my stems, I am going to use a dark granny apple green. And this one, I am not doing anything fancy with. Blends are super easy. You can shade and combine colors and get as crazy and creative as you want, or you can just be a simple, lazy colorer, which I kind of feel like I am today. I almost colored the tulip in green. All right. Focus, Kate, focus. So now I am using a different shade of green. I have got my, what am I using? Where is that? I don't want this one. I have my light granny apple green. I don't mean to have that. What I mean to have, I better just put my glasses on, friends. Hey, Donna from Okotoks. Thanks for tuning in. All right, I'm going to use dark lemon lime with my brush tip. Now, maybe some of you have had trouble with your Stampin' blends fraying a little bit. This sadly is a fact. I'm going to show you. If you can see this little tip, my camera's a little unfocused, but trust me when I tell you it's starting to fray. And I don't think I'm too hard on my blends. Sadly, I think they have a bit of a shelf life, and that really makes me sad because if you have bought blends before, we all know they're not the cheapest option when it comes to a coloring tool. So I have resigned myself to occasionally needing to replace blends before they dry out because the tips fray. So maybe I am too aggressive with them. I don't think I am, but that is something I've noticed, that my blends are not going to be in my craft stash long term. I'm going to get 1.5 to 2 years out of them if I use them consistently and fairly often, and then they're going to start to fray and I'm going to be grumpy because I'm cheap and I don't want to spend any more money. But then I say I'm not going to use blends, and then I use blends. It's a vicious cycle. All right, so let me know in the comments if you have also had some struggles with your blends, so I know I'm not the only one. And if you know a tip on how to keep them from fraying or take better care of them, then I'm all ears. All right, so I'm going to use the brand new light Timid Tiger. Hello, I don't know if I'm saying this right, so Akgel, Akgel Stamps, or Akgel, I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong. I don't like to say things wrong, but thanks for tuning in. And I'm going to guess you're a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Ohio. Hello, Stampin' Up! Sister. All right, so I'm just going to color in these little blossoms in the Timid Tiger. And then in the light, wait, which one did I use? I used the light Timid Tiger. In the dark Timid Tiger, I am going to color in this top part of my coneflower or daisy or black-eyed Susan. I don't know. I'm not a gardener. Oh, hello, Kate. Some of your blends have frayed and you haven't had them very long. Oh, that is maddening. They're not cheap. That is maddening. So if you haven't had them too long, maybe try customer service. Sometimes usually they're excellent, right? But I'm going to guess that at some point they're not going to replace the blends, but I haven't had anything that has frayed before a year is up. So anyway, Donna, I'm not alone on the blends. One of yours dried out fast. Yeah, I know. I love working with them too. That's the problem. That's why it's this vicious cycle where I keep buying blends. And I hear Copic markers are great and you can refill them, but I just love to color coordinate. So that I'm not going to buy Copic. I'm just going to suffer. I'm going to complain. I'm going to treat them like my little craft babies and hope for the best. So now I'm using Strawberry Slush in the dark, and all I'm going to do, because I'm feeling a little bit lazy with my coloring, is I am outlining the flower wherever there's a little black line, and then where the petal looks like it's facing in towards like the main part of the flower, so not an outer petal, I'm going to color that in my darker shade of Strawberry Slush. Hey Susan, thanks for tuning in. Then I'm just going to grab my light Strawberry Slush with the brush tip very gently, because these blends are just so fragile. I really wish there was a big amazing fix for this. Or replaceable tips. I'm going to put that in the sandbox for Stampin' Up. That if these blends, which seems to be a common theme, if they're going to fray after a year or whatever the case is, then maybe they should make them so you can actually replace the tips. Tina, tulips can be green. Oh, no way. They're called Virus I Flora tulips. I'm going to Google that. I have to see that. I have to see that. I have some tulips, not too many because I don't have them planted in the right spot, which my husband reminds me every time I mention the tulips or he walks by the tulips. He's always telling me they're not in the right place, they're not getting enough sun, and we've had the same conversation for a year or more. Actually, no, it's been years. What am I saying? It's been years. We have the same conversation every year. He reminds me about how these tulips are not in the right place. Well, I'm not a green thumb, and I just haven't moved them. But they're these gorgeous orange and yellow tulips, and they're amazing. Jackie, you saw a YouTube video on how to replace the tip and add alcohol. Well, that's interesting. Yes, Wendy, a tip replacement would be amazing. All right, now I'm moving on to my darling duckling. Who comes up with these names? It's so cute. It's so cute. And this really is the color of a little duck. I saw a video of a local police officer stopping traffic to let a little family of ducklings cross a very busy road. And I mean, sometimes drivers get super grumpy because they just don't like to be delayed, but once everybody realized what the delay was, I don't think there was one person that was miffed. It's just so cute. They're so cute. Anyway, so all I'm doing is I'm adding the dark color right underneath this timid tiger top part of my flower. I don't know what that's called. There's got to be a word for it, and I don't know what it is. And then I'm just going to go around the leaves in the darker yellow and do the same thing that I did with the tulip. I'm just taking the lighter color and I'm going to brush up along my image and blend those two different shades of light and dark together. Super simple, nothing fancy, and you get a little bit of shading where you've layered on that dark color. All right, this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to move these markers out of the way because I have limited space. All right, so once this dries, those colors will blend in a little bit better. So if you can see a bit of variation, it's just because the paper is wet. So I went ahead and I did this one last night, so it's dry, it's ready to go. I use the same color combos. And now let's build our fun fold. It's so simple. All right, we're going to grab one piece of the Flirty Flamingo. Again, these are 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. If you are catching this replay on YouTube, because I will post this to YouTube after, you're going to find the measurements in the description of the YouTube video. So you don't need to madly write down what I say. You can find them all written out for you in the video description. You just have to click on that little more button, I think. I think it says more and then it's got 3 little dots. And then I have my supply list and also the measurements. And then of course I will post a picture of this completed project on the Facebook page sometime before the end of this evening with the measurement photo as well. I just like to make it easy for you guys. Patricia says, it looks like I'm coloring with the tip. Color with the side of the marker and it will help a lot. Thank you, Patricia. That is an excellent tip. I am going to take your advice. Touch base with me in 6 months and ask me how my brand new blends are doing. Anyway, I do appreciate tips because I want to extend the life of my blends. So let's all try it. If any of you are struggling as well, I know some of you are because we just talked about it. Let's take Patricia's tip and give it a try. So color with the side, not the tip. Genius. Why didn't I think of that? All right, Margaret, I like your little heart emojis. Now this piece that I've layered the embossed piece of white onto the Flirty Flamingo layer, and then we're just going to glue this down to the front of our card flap. And yeah, ink smudge. I did it. I got the ink smudge in there. I'm going to cover it up anyway, but look at that. I had a tiny little black on my thumb. Oh yeah, I'm so happy that's over with. Okay, the second piece of Flirty Flamingo, we're just going to layer our stamped and colored images on that, and then we're going to layer it right onto the strawberry slush that we chopped off the front of the card. Lori, you're welcome for the videos. I actually really look forward to doing videos. My husband's been asking me if I'm going to take the summer off, and I say, no, you're crazy. I will take the summer off from in-person classes because I find that they don't really fill up. People are busy in the summer, so it's I'm going to say 90% sure I will not be doing any in-person classes at the East Hall in June, July, or August, and will likely resume in September, just because we're all so busy. Hello, Beverly. Thanks for tuning in. And in the meantime, I was thinking about maybe starting up a virtual card club where I mail out kits, but then Canada Post, it sounds like they're going to be striking. So, but that gives me time to come up with the first class, which I'm going to send out to those who want to join at a reduced rate, since it's going to be the first time I do a virtual card class, similar to my card classes in person, but we'll just probably focus on one stamp set. Anyway, that's coming. 2025 was supposed to be the year of organization for me, but it's off to a very slow start. So with the looming Canada Post strike and not being able to send out kits, it'll buy me some time to get organized and get some kits for a virtual card class ready to go so they can be mailed out. So if you're in Canada and that sounds like something you would like to try over the summer, and you want to be my guinea pig in the pilot project, then certainly send me a message and we'll talk about it. Like I said, the first class will be cheap because I need to iron out what I'm doing. So there you go. That's my plans. Summer plans. Okay, basic white. Now, what I should do is just stamp a little bit in the corner. I'm going to glue it down. Then after the live, I'll color it because I'm not going to make you guys watch me color again. That's so boring. But I will actually stamp so I don't have a naked inside of my card. I don't want a naked card. All right. I'm glad I thought about that. Otherwise, I would have been stamping after the class when it was already glued onto my card. And then there's pressure because if you mess up, then you can't just flip it over. You got to cut another piece and start all over again. All right, Beverly, you got your pieces cut and you're going to watch the replay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Jackie, you'll be my guinea pig. You're so supportive, Jackie. I'm glad you're coming on Sunday. It'll be fun. I love layers too, Patricia. I am a layer queen. I just love to put a bunch of layers on my card. sometimes it's bitten me in the butt when it comes to mailing them because they're so heavy. I have to pay a little bit of extra postage. I do have a problem though, a crafting problem, a card making problem. I've got 2 shoe boxes full of cards. I got to do something with them. I do sell some at my local little community store, but not enough for the amount of cards that I make. Hey, Vicky from Arizona. So I need something to do with them. I can only send out so much. I take them to work, but sometimes I'll do cards by donation for wounded warriors or cops for cancer, whatever's happening in the office that I work at. But what I really want is a place where I could just donate them to. So no muss, no fuss. I just roll up with my shoe boxes, get rid of some of the clutter, make my husband a little bit happier. Sorry, I'm talking. I'm not telling you what I'm doing. All right. On the left side of this piece that we stamped and layered onto Flirty Flamingo and Strawberry Slush, I have added some glue to about 1/3 of the back. So you just want to be careful that you're not adding it to this side. You want to add the glue to the back of this side. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to glue this down on the card flap. And since I've only put glue down on about 1/3 of that the back of the layer, I should, in theory, not have any glue leach over. And if you do have glue leach over, you just want to get rid of that before you close your card because you don't want to glue your card together. So there you go. Here is our fun fold. I'm going to, after the live, I'm just going to color this in. And one more thing that I want to do, if I can find them in my mess. Oh, I should show, like I've shown you guys lots pictures of my bed and how my mess accumulates, but what I haven't shown you is my actual desk. So what you see where my hands are, it looks fine. It looks like I got lots of space. Spoiler alert, it's messy. It's messy. Oh well, I don't know where they are, so I'm going to use my new package of, what are these? Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink gems. Teresa says donate to a senior center. Well, that's a good idea. Oh, yeah. Donate to a senior center. I'm going to look into that. Hello, Kathy. Thanks, Debbie. It is pretty. Beverly, I'm glad you like the card. So somewhere in my mess, I have an open pack of these pretty little pink gems that who knows where they went. So we've got 3 different shades, Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink, and there's clear. So I think I'm going to use Strawberry Slush, obviously, to coordinate. And I'm just going to add 3 of these pretty little pink gems. I really like these pink gems. I envision that I will be going through a few packs of these, so it really doesn't matter that I just opened up a brand new pack. Oh, now I know where it is. It's in one of my baskets for the card class. Yeah, that's where it is. I love how my mind works late. I think I need a little bit more. So I've got 3. I'm going to add a little bit more to the white left side of this card just because it looks like it needs a little more color. Like so. Get off my, take your pick tool. All right, there we go. Good enough. All right, Lena says hospital. And Leah Beth says veteran hospitals. All good ideas, friends. Thank you. I appreciate the ideas. And the tip for the blending brush. I'm going to remember that. All right, here we go. Here is our super simple fun fold. I'm going to color this in. It's going to be even better. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's card class at home. And we'll do a little bit of a recap. So this was our first project in May. And then our second project, this still might be my favorite. And then our third project and tonight's project. So I totally forgot that there's one extra Thursday in May. So I will do a tutorial for this card next Thursday. So stay tuned for the measurements. And I use the Everyday Arches die and pressed flowers embossing folder for this one. So yeah, we'll do that one. I'm going to flip the camera around. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. The bed is still a mess. I have got baskets. Some are ready to go. Some need to be put together. So I'm going to work on that after this live. And there was one thing I forgot to mention. Well, thanks everybody. I'm seeing all your comments. I'm glad you like the cards. It's not me. It's not me that makes these pretty. It's the stamp set. I mean, it's awesome. I really like it. So, but I'm a little bit floral obsessed lately. And I probably need to expand a little bit and use some different stamp sets. But florals are just my thing. It must be because it's spring. So yesterday I learned that Stampin' Up! Is going to be hosting a 3-day virtual scrapbooking workshop in July. That's amazing. So I am brand new to stamping, scrapbooking. I have just made a few layouts with some of my favorite memories of Kai when he was little, but that was kind of where it ended and I haven't picked up on it. So I'm going to join it. It opens up, it's not registration. So May 28th is when you can sign up, and all you do to sign up is buy this scrapbook workshop kit. The issue is it's not cheap. It's $340 Canadian, but it comes with everything you need to make layouts for, if I understand it correctly, every month of the year. The virtual retreat runs for 3 days from, I want to say 2 in the afternoon Mountain Time until 10 p.m. Mountain Time. That is past my bedtime, friends, but but it sounds intriguing. So 3 days, and they're long days. It is virtual. You buy the kit and then you're just in. So $340 is a little bit steep, but I'm not a scrapbooker. So for those of you who do scrapbook and have done retreats, maybe it's a totally reasonable price and I'm just a cheapskate. But I am going to go because it's just what I need to get Kai's first year finally into a photo album. So I'm going to focus on all his first pictures starting from the month that he was born, and those are the pictures that I'm going to use in this virtual retreat. So let me know. I'm really interested because I'm new to scrapbooking. Just a couple things. Are you a scrapbooker? Have you done a retreat either in person and virtual? And is $340 for all the supplies you need to do layouts for every month of the year seem like a reasonable amount? I don't know. Anyway, if this sounds like something you want to do, please reach out and I'll keep you posted with all the information. And because it's such a steep price point, if any of my customers in Canada, any of my Canadian customers, you have to be in Canada to order from me. Stampin' Up! Rules. Sorry, not my rules, Stampin' Up! Rules. But if you did join the virtual workshop and you order from my online site, then I am going to send you a gift with some of my favorite crafty essentials, just to take the sting out of that price point. But maybe it's me. Maybe it's because I'm cheap and I've never done a virtual retreat or any retreat, let alone a 3-day scrapbooking retreat. But I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. It's going to force me to get those baby pictures into a memory album. So I'm doing it. I'm going to branch into scrapbooking. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I will be back on Monday with a brand new project. I'm going to say not flowers, but I don't know. It might be flowers. I'm going to try not to do flowers, or at least do something that has something else and flowers. We'll just see. So again, thanks for tuning in. And yes, Patricia, you're right. It is Stampin' Up's first ever scrapbooking retreat. Are you going to go? I'm excited about it. Anyway, well, I'm not excited for the price, but that's for future Kate to pay off that credit card bill. Whatever. All right. Have a really good night, and I hope to see you guys all on Monday.